Okay, so today in this video, I want to answer the question, which music making software is right for you? For me personally, I use Logic Pro and the good old FL Studio by ImageLine. I really love these two softwares. FL Studio has been my ride or die for a really long time, and I've made a lot of amazing music with FL Studio. It is super dope. It is super amazing. Don't listen to the naysayers that they're always trying to downplay FL Studio and talk bad about it, and because they don't like the kind of people that use this software. And also Logic Pro is an amazing software. I really like it, although it's just for Mac only. But those are the softwares that I use personally. And I've also used Ableton Live, and I've also tried a lot of other ones like Reason, and I've also tried so many different other softwares as demos. I've never gotten to own them myself, but I've tried them and I've also watched other people use them. So I kind of know the ins and outs, like, how they work, and just by looking at them and all of that. So I kind of do have information, but I just wanted to lay out the foundation of the softwares that I use personally myself, which I bounce around, which is something that I like to do. I enjoy having two softwares that I use, which are FL Studio and Logic Pro. If you've been following my channel, you know that I've been trying out a lot of different stuff. But now, which software do I recommend? So I think when it comes to softwares for music creation, or DAWs, if you want to call them that, you can call them anything, music making softwares or DAWs or digital workstations or whichever. I think I can group them into two. I think a recommendation like this depends with your use case and what you're trying to do in the music you're trying to make, right? So I think for me, I'm someone who makes electronic music. I don't see myself being someone who's going to make other style of music other than electronic music. So knowing that before you choose the software is a really good thing for you to know which direction and where to go. This is how I split these softwares, because there's a lot of them. I want to split them into two camps, because I feel like right now where we are in this landscape of making music, we are usually doing either this one thing, which is electronic music, or we are recording instruments, which is something that a lot of people do. So I think this is where you now have to kind of pick between all these softwares to find out which one is which. But before I tell you how I would recommend these softwares, I would just like to let you know that just start off by knowing exactly what you want to do. Do you want to be an electronic musician, or do you want to be someone who plays live instruments and record those kinds of instruments into a software? Is that what you want to do? Your intention has to be clear so that you know what kind of software that you're going to need. So what I'm going to say is that the software that I'm going to put on this side is going to be the software that is the best for if you're going to be recording like into your software. If you want to do recordings, I would say these are the softwares that you want to get into. So these are the softwares if you are starting a band, if you play guitar, if you want to do live recording and you want to even record vocals. If you just record vocals and you're not into like electronic music production, these are the softwares that I would really recommend that you look into. You can try them out and then see which one has a workflow that works for you. And when it comes to recording, there's also latency that you also want to figure out, to find out that as you're recording or as you're playing back your instruments, is the latency okay? Is it fast enough for you to listen to the music back in your headphones or in your speakers quick enough that it doesn't ruin the experience of recording your music? So that's why I recommend these, so that you can check them out and try those ones out, and you can figure out which one exactly works for you. And then on the other side, on this side, I would recommend these softwares if you're someone who wants to get into the electronic side. If you want to make electronic music and you're not going to see yourself really recording like a lot of instruments into this software, then these are the softwares that I would recommend you to get into and just take a look at and try them before you settle with one. So you can see there are two camps. If you want to record live instruments, then you have this direction to go. If you want to make more electronic music where you're just clicking in everything or using a MIDI controller like the one that I have right here, then these are the ones that you can use. You know exactly which ones to try out. So those are the ones that I can say you can try out if you want to go there. So it's all about you, what you're trying to do, what kind of music you're trying to make. But for me, that's why I use Logic Pro, and then I also use FL Studio, because these are great for me. And I know that they're different, and I like the difference that they have. I feel like FL Studio it has a dark look, has a dark feel. It's more electronic. Like, I feel like it's all about making beats and just, you know, that's why it's popular for hip hop and for house music and things like that. I really love it. That's why I could learn it, and I feel like learning FL Studio is, you know, is fairly easy for a lot of people. That's why we have a lot of videos and a lot of beginner tutorials on it. But also, not to discount Logic. Logic is also super easy to use, but it kind of has its own learning curve that you might want to get into. And another thing is that it's also only for Apple, so you might want to think about that as well. It's only for Mac. I just want to also just add to this and say that if you really are hooked on one software, like let's say FL Studio, I'm not saying that you cannot record bands into FL Studio. You can still do it, you can still do that, but I'm just saying that you might find it easier to record instruments in other softwares than you might find FL Studio can do it for you. So you just have to figure out which one is good based off of your experience and what other people are also recommending, and what you see other people that make the same music that you're trying to make are making, and what they are using as well, just to see what they're using and, you know, what comes easy. Because people don't choose the same software for no reason. People choose the same software because it really works. So you might want to look into things like Pro Tools, and you might want to look into stuff like Presonus Studio One if you want to be recording instruments and things like that. And then you might want to look into things like Bitwig and stuff like that if you want to go on the electronic side. You know, if you want to make house music and things like that, you want to look at Ableton Live. But not saying that all the other softwares won't be able to do that. That's why I use both. I've managed to test these two softwares out, and I've managed to make the same kind of music in FL Studio that I can make in Logic, and vice versa. So both of them are valuable to me, and they can do the same. It's just about preference and what you're feeling like. Let me know down below which software you're gonna pick, that you're gonna use, or the software that you use right now. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. I'm X, and I'm out. Peace.